Almighty God, we bow down before Thee in humble obedience and dependence. We pray Thee grant us the grace to respect each other this day in all our consultations, that our deliberations today shall take place in the spirit of mutual trust, so that we as leaders shall lead our country on the path of peace and shall find solutions for issues and problems facing us. Grant us the mercy, O Lord, that we shall today also honor Thy name in all we think, do, and say. Almighty God, we pray Thee, bless our land and all its people. This all we pray in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Affirmation. I solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of Namibia and its people, and I solemnly promise to uphold and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Namibia to the best of my ability. Any messages from the head of state? Petitions? Reports of standing or select committees? Is that Honorable Ampanda? Is that a report? Huh? Honorable Ampanda, are you presenting a report?
Speaker, I'm just rising on the procedure to bring a matter to your attention with regards to the minutes that we've been given. The minute says, the chairperson reported progress to the speaker and asked leave to sit again. Leave to sit again granted. I think maybe the secretariat just copied old provision. So the chairperson of the All House Committee reported no progress and implored on the speaker on the procedure. Usually our competent chairperson of the All House Committee usually ask clearly that I therefore request for leave to sit again. Those words were not uttered by the chairperson. So maybe it can just be corrected there it's here on the minutes. Otherwise we're going to have a problem.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Well, I will look at that. I remember the part of no progress, but I will have to confirm on whether there was permission sought to sit again, because I would expect that there would be such, because otherwise we will not be able to proceed. But I will look at that and give an indication. I see the Deputy Speaker is asking for the floor, and he has the floor. You have asked for the floor.
No, I want to take the report.
Oh, okay. Then you may proceed, please. Yes, you have the floor, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I lay upon the table, in terms of the electoral section, the report of the Otapi constituency by-election that was held in the Umstati region.
Yes, you may table the report, please. Yes. Honorable Ampanda.
Speaker, I rise in terms of Rule 222 that the report be referred to the relevant Parliamentary Standing Committee.
Okay, thank you. Let me look at the rules, Secretary. Very good. It's so suggested. Is it agreed to? Agreed to, yes. Okay. Very good. Then we proceed. There are no further requests for the floor on reports. We proceed to notices of questions. Honorable Kambala.
Honorable Speaker, following exhaustive consultations between the government, the negotiating team, and trade unions, the government resolved to abolish the 5% core payment requirement under the Public Service Employee Medical Scheme, SEMAS. However, a significant discrepancy has emerged between this policy directive and its practical implementation. Reports indicate that SEMAS members continue to be billed at various medical facilities charges that appear to mirror the new defunct 5% levy. This inconsistency has generated widespread public anxiety and raised urgent questions regarding the actual status of this policy. It is against this background that I hereby will ask the Minister of Finance on the 30th of April the following questions. Honourable Minister, what is the current implementation status of government's decision to abolish the 5% core payment under SEMAS, which was announced to take effect on the 1st of April? And can you further clarify whether the levy has in fact been discontinued in practice, given that monthly member contributions were increased accordingly, yet public servants continue to experience charges at service points that resemble the 5% core payment? 2, Honourable Minister, reports indicate that SEMAS continues to operate on tariffs last reviewed in 2014. Can the Minister provide an update on the status of the tariff review process and explain how the continued use of outdated tariffs affect service delivery, reimbursement rates, and financial sustainability of the scheme? 3, despite the government's directive to remove the 5% core payment, is the Minister aware and care to explain the reports that members are still being charged amounts resembling the abolished 5% for doctor-prescribed original medicine, while no such charges appear to apply when members opt for generic alternatives? What measures has the Ministry put in place to ensure full and uniform implementation of this directive across all accredited health providers? As we submit.
Yes, you may table the questions, Honourable Member. Yes, Honourable Venani? Yes, Honourable Kandorobo?
Thank you, Speaker. I hereby give notice that on the 23rd April this year, I shall ask the Minister of Justice and Labour Relations, Honourable Philemon Emmanuel, the following questions. Honourable Minister, I wish to raise an urgent matter concerning alleged unfair labour practices and unsafe working conditions affecting employees within the Ministry of Gender, Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare. It is reported that drivers responsible for transporting children from boarding schools across regions to Windhoek are required to work excessively long hours, often until as late as 2 o'clock in the morning, covering distances exceeding 1,500 kilometers and transporting large numbers of children daily. Despite these demands, overtime is reportedly kept at only 4 hours, regardless of actual hours worked. No sub-S&Ts allowances are provided. A request for improved conditions are dismissed on the basis of approved labor hours without regard to operational realities. Furthermore, there are allegations that drivers are instructed to overload vehicles, with instances of up to 40 children transported in a single quantum, raising serious safety concern. In one reported incident, a ministry vehicle was involved in an accident resulting in injury to a child, and the driver now faces criminal charges, allegedly linked to these working conditions without institutional support. Social workers are also said to be required to remain on duty overnight while being compensated for only limited hours, which is 4 hours. Therefore, I ask the following questions. Is the Minister aware of these alleged labor practices? Do these conditions comply with Namibia labor law and occupational health safety standards? What measures will be taken to ensure fair compensation of actual hours worked, including overtime and S&T allowances? What steps will be taken to address unsafe transport practices, including vehicle overloading? What protection are in place for employees who face legal consequences while performing duties under such conditions? I hereby submit.
Please table the question, Honorable Member. Yes, Honorable Ipombu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I did notice that on the 30th of April, Thursday, I shall ask the Minister of Environment, Forestry, Tourism, Honorable Daniel, based on the report regarding the purchase of a 1.5 million vehicle for the CEO of Namibia Tourism Board. Did the Namibia Tourism Board obtain approval to purchase the 1.5 million vehicle for its CEO? How is its luxury vehicle purchase justified amid financial strain? Has the Minister verified the 11 million expenditure, and who is accountable for any overspending? Is the board using reserves to cover salaries and operations, and is this sustainable? What action will be taken if poor governance or misuse of funds is confirmed? Further, regarding the recent announcement to restrict self-drive access to source freight and grant a single operator shuttle concession, on what specific legal authority did the ministry restrict self-drive access to source freight and grant a single operator shuttle concession? How does the minister justify creating an effective monopoly that sideline local operators and limit Namibians' access? Why are shuttle tariffs not regulated in the concession, and what safeguards exist to prevent price exploitation? Will the minister suspend or review the concession and widespread industry objections, and who will be held accountable if due process was not followed? I so submit.
Yes, please table the questions, Honorable. Honorable Mbundu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 23rd of April 2026, I shall ask the Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Honorable James Sankwansa, the following. Honorable Minister, it has become increasingly clear that several local authorities, particularly smaller and economical stagnant towns, are financially overburdened by the current structure imposed to them. Corihas is a primary example with a population of fewer than 7,000 residents, a minimal revenue base, and limited economical activity. The largest portion of its income is absorbed by administrative and wage costs long before any meaningful service, delivery, or development can take place. This is not an isolated case. Other towns, councils with similar economic profiles and equal suffocate. Meanwhile, the Local Authority Act provides the Minister with the power to review and clarify local authority in line with their financial capacity, population and size and development reality. Downgrade such town to village council should swift wage bill to central government and free secure local revenue and actual development, roads, water infrastructure, housing and economic upliftment, thereby serving residents more honestly and effectively. Questions. Will the Honourable Minister urgently conduct a national review of financial distressed town council, starting with Corihas, with aim of downgrading them to village council as permitted by Local Authority Act, in order to reduce administrative pressure and free up revenue for development? 2, if so, what timeline will the ministry set up for this review for clarification of Corihas and any similar overburdened towns? 3rd, if not, can the minister justify why community must continue suffering under local authority structure that are clearly unsustainable and counterproductive for development. I so submit.
Please table the questions. Honorable Hengari. Okay. Honorable Mulunga. Also oral. Okay. Please, let's all switch off the ones who are oral and press again. Honorable Shitana. Okay. Honorable Klute.
May 2026, I shall ask the Honourable Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy the following question. The government of Namibia approximately 123 million to a company called, paid approximately 123 million to a company called Sungura Energies Limited, registered in the United Kingdom, to acquire an interest in Angolan petroleum assets. On 19 February 2026, a filing at the United Kingdom Companies House records that on that day, the Namibian state ceased to be controlling shareholder of that company, and that sole control passed to a single private individual, a Nigerian national. I therefore ask, will the Honourable Minister inform this August House, 1, whether the Ministry, Cabinet or the NAMCOR Board was notified in writing of this change, on what date and by whom? 2, the current shareholding structure of Sungura Energies Limited, including the percentage held by NAMCOR or any state beneficial entity, and the identity and nationality of every remaining shareholder. 3, whether the Minister will table before this House all NAMCOR Board resolutions authorizing the payment of approximately 123 million to Sungara Energies, all correspondence between the Ministry, NAMCOR and Sungara from 1st of January 2026 to date, and any cabinet memorandum relating to the disposal of the state's interest. 4, the current status of NAMCOR's interest in the Angolan petroleum assets acquired through Sungara Energies, and whether any consideration was received by the state upon its exit. And finally, what steps the Minister will take to recover either the person with significant control status or the 123 million dispersed, and by what date that the Minister will report those steps to this House. I so submit.
Is please table the question. Honorable Lucato.
Honorable Speaker, leaders of various political parties, members of Parliament, good day and thank you for the platform. Today, Wednesday, 22 April 2026, I hereby give note that on Thursday, 30 April 2026, I shall ask the Minister of Education, Innovation, Youth Sports, Arts and Culture, my relative sister, Honorable Sanit Stenka, the following questions. Honorable Minister, I rise to direct the following questions to your respected office regarding development concerns in the Omsati region. Otapi Stadium project. It has been observed that the construction of sports stadium in Otapi commenced around 2014. However, since the installation of the perimeter fence, there has been little, no visible progress on the project's date. Can the Honourable Minister inform the August House and the might masses of this country what exactly transpired regarding the funds allocated to this stadium project? According to available reports, were these funds properly utilized And if not, what corrective or investigative action have been taken? Number two, if there was any form of mismanagement or misuse of public funds, have the individuals responsible been identified and held accountable? The people of Otapi and the wider Omsat region are in urgent need of this facility, which is vital for youth development, sports promotion, and community engagement. I so submit, Honourable Speaker.
Yes, please table the questions, Honourable. Don't disturb the honourable member. Yes, Honourable Fries. Are you ready? Yes, go ahead.
I'm next, Honourable Speaker.
You are next. Yes, you may proceed.
All right, thank you, Honourable Speaker. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 30th of April, 2026, I shall ask the Minister of Education, Innovations, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture, Honourable Dr. Sanet Steenkamp, the following. It has become a growing concern across Namibia that many newly appointed teachers assume duty, report to classrooms and begin teaching learners, yet they wait between 2 and 4 months before receiving their first salaries. This points to a deeply troubling administrative failure in the education sector, especially in the Hardap region. At a time when government speaks about improving learning outcomes, teacher shortages and youth employment, it is unacceptable that qualified young professionals are expected to work for months without pay. Such delays place newly recruited teachers under severe financial strain, damage their morale, and ultimately affect the quality of education they deliver to the Namibian child. I therefore wish to ask the following questions. What is the current average time between a teacher's assumption of duty and receipt of their first salary? What are the principal causes of these salary delays? What support measures are available to newly appointed teachers who must pay rent, transport, and living costs while waiting months without a salary? How much money is currently owed in salary arrears to newly appointed teachers nationwide? What disciplinary or accountability measures exist for officials at the regional offices whose negligence causes avoidable salary delays? And lastly, will the Minister commit that no newly appointed teacher should wait longer than 30 days after assumption of duty to receive a first salary? I so submit, Honourable Speaker.
Please table the questions. Yes, you have been requested to kindly not bang on the desk. Clap if you have to applaud, in order not to disturb the hands that recording. Yes, Honourable Kumbwa.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the floor. I hereby give notice that on the 30th of April 2026, I'll ask the Minister of Justice, Labour Relations, Honourable Philemon Wise, the following questions. I wish to respectfully draw your attention to the concerns that have been raised regarding labour practices at the construction site of Rikonga Vision School in the Mupwe constituency, Kavango East, where the contractor is RK Investment CC. In this regard, I seek the Honourable Minister's kind clarification on the following matters. Whether the Ministry is aware of reports alleging delays of inconsistencies in the payment of wages to workers engaged on this project since December 2025, and if so, What measures are being taken to address this matter? Whether the contractor is in full compliance with the applicable provisions in the construction industry collective bargaining agreement and the national minimum wage requirements governing government-funded projects. What steps the ministry is taking to ensure that labor practices on this project uphold fair employment standards, particularly with regard to the engagement and protection of local workers within Mukwe constituency. The last one, whether any inspections or assessment have been concluded, particularly in relation to occupational health and worker welfare at the site, and what the findings and any corrective action have been done. I trust that the Honourable Minister will provide clarity on these matters and indicate how the rights, welfare, and health of workers on government projects are being safeguarded. I so submit, Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Nashinge, is that a question? No. Oh, okay. Now we are coming to agent oral questions. I just want to say I have a list here. The honorable members who want to ask agent oral question, on what point do you want to raise, Honorable Kambala?
Question. Maybe if I can just go before we go to the oral questions.
I think you already gave a notice of question.
No, there are two.
Oh, okay, no. According to the rule, it's very good because I was actually going to make an announcement on something of that nature.
But you already allowed some already.
Yes. Did I allow some people to ask two questions?
Yes.
No, I can't recall that. But let me read this because I wanted to read when I saw also on the list here, just for clarity, not as a matter of argument or anything like that, but it is time limits for debates and speeches, Rule 85. Now it says questions there on page 57. A member has 3 minutes to ask a question, and only yes per question, and the next row is frequency, the number of time that they may be allowed to ask a question once. So that is the point. And what I have observed, I have made this ruling once. That column means something. If the intention was to say there is only a time limit on how long it takes for one to ask a question, then that column was not going to be there. It's there and it says frequency. And it says once. Then the rules say, if there is discontent about the ruling of a presiding officer, that must be discussed, and then the matter is brought to the House on recommendation of the Standing Rules Committee. But for now, this is very obvious, and I wanted to announce this to draw the attention of the House to this one so that I can pre-notify the members who wanted to come and ask agent oral questions after having asked notified questions. And there also, maybe I should also proceed to highlight the next rule. The next rule is rule 130. Rule 131 say a question may not be asked without notice except as otherwise provided for in Standing Rule 129. In 129 say a member, it is indicated there, a member may ask a question to a minister and the information on such matter, provided that the question may not, and then it goes on. Then it says notice of a question may be handed by a member to the secretary. Every notice of a question must be signed. So a member may only ask a question that is not notified if that member has obtained the leave of the speaker to ask it. So it means that it's not a right to ask a question without giving notice. Yeah, the requirement under the rules is that you must give notice to ask a question. And the presiding officer is given a discretion to determine when it may be warranted based on what question. That's why the speaker always say, can I hear the gist of the question? No, I just read the rule, that's all. Now I proceed to the honorable members who have asked the floor. The first one is Honorable Benani. Eh? You can't just ask a question sitting down. Who is asking the question even? Yes? Yes, yes.
On the floor. Okay. Speaker, I think it's we.
On what point are you raising, honorable member?
On point 85 on the issue of frequency.
You can't raise on point 85 the issue of frequency. Okay. So what rule? I mean, how do you just rise on an issue of frequency? To debate it or to seek explanation or to do what?
I'm your indulgence.
To do what?
Yes.
To do indulgence to do what?
Can I just?
No, I'm asking you. The rules say the presiding.
Point of procedure, Speaker. I'm trying to.
Yes. Okay. Then that's a point. Point of privilege.
Yes. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, if we are to because if we don't want to go back and forth, here the point of the question here says that per question, meaning that if I have 3 questions, I only get to ask 1 question per 3 minutes. So I cannot.
So you are debating now.
No, I'm not debating. It's here per question. It's not. It's here. It's written there. I'm not the one making the. I'm not reading. I'm not making things up. It's there. Written there.
Okay. Can you sit down so that I can answer?
No. How can I finish?
Okay. So is it a question you are asking, or you are putting up some debate?
Yes. And then the word goes to frequency. Frequency in the Oxford Dictionary, it explains it as that is the number of time-specific event or a particular issue occurs. Now, occurrence means that now, if I, like now what I did earlier, I asked 1 question within 3 minutes, that was one. So now I come again, second question, 3 minutes, in one sitting.
Okay, so may you now take a seat? You have expressed your view. I now make a ruling that, honorable member, you are wrong. The interpretation in terms of rule 6, in terms of rule 6, the speaker may make rulings in applying and interpreting these standing rules, sessional orders, or any directive or guidelines approved by the Standing Committee on Standing Rules, Orders, and Internal Arrangements. Any presiding officer may make a ruling on a point of order in any matter before the House. In so doing, he or he must explain the reasons for the ruling, provided that he or she may instead submit the matter to the House for its decision. After the explanation referred to in sub-rule 2, members must comply with the ruling made by a presiding member, and no discussion of any such ruling must be allowed. So the explanation has been given, so the presiding officer has opted to make a ruling and not to put the issue for debate, has explained, and now that matter is put to rest. So now we proceed, Honorable Venani.
If we are, okay, Honorable Speaker, before I'm denied a right to ask a question, permit me to ask a question to the Minister of Home Affairs, Safety and Security, Her Royal Highness Lucia Ipumbo, my dear sister. Honorable Minister of Security, there is a saying in my language, Amori Vembita. It simply translates, don't let us forget. Don't pretend to forget. Thank you. Correct, Osirero translation. Your Royal Highness,
from now on, you must treat the member like a Royal Highness. You can't just say it and then proceed to behave otherwise.
me from many days when we were young, and she knows that she gets the treatment of a Royal Highness.
Okay, I will be watching.
Yeah.
You people have interest,
Madam Minister, we lost diamonds to the value of over 300 million. I've been seated here waiting for you to come with a ministerial statement. We were told 40 million worth of diamonds were recovered. Typical Namibia with corruption. Now we are quiet with the diamonds. Where are we with this case? There was an accusation made by Namibia that the G4S, that's the correct name, G4S is responsible for the 250 million worth of diamonds that is missing. G4S has denied that they are responsible. Now the case of the Namibia heist, the biggest diamond heist in the country, Chupstel, we are all quiet about it. What is happening?
Okay, Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you very much, Honorable McHenry Venani. It's not a matter of us Rivembitha, but the case is still ongoing. The investigations are continuing. We are receiving reports, of which you know security reports are classified, and up to until when they are ready for public disclosure, we will update the nation. But as at now, the investigations are still continuing. Thank you.
Honorable Mulunga? No, it's Honorable, is it Honorable Mulunga? Okay. Is it Honorable Hengari or Honorable Mulunga? Oh, okay. Honorable Mulunga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'd like to pose a question to the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Services. Honorable Minister, it was last week or 2 weeks ago when we were discussing during the budget about redirecting funding that is meant for the central medical stores. And the Honorable Minister informed us in this House that the ministry has opted to go and rent at Ramatex. But now today in the media, we are reading about the tender that has been cancelled. We are reading about concerns from Global Fund, and they also do not know about the commitment of their funding that they have given to construct the central medical stores. And it seems now there's a confusion that is happening. Are we now constructing the central medical stores, or are we renting at Ramatex, as per the information that the Honorable Minister has told us in this House? So can the Honorable Minister please clarify as to what is going on, what are we going to do, and also clarify with the donor funding, because we don't want to lose this big amount that has been given. And I'm sure it is with strict conditions that it cannot be redirected to renting, because it was given for the purpose of constructing the central medical stores. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member, I'm not sure, if my memory serves me right, I remember the question, and I remember giving an answer to that question where I said it was not that the ministry went into the option to rent. I clarified that it was a rent to own, and if my memory serves me right, the conversation there was that we did a cost-benefit analysis, and we found that the very same complaints regarding pharmaceuticals that require space required that we do not wait for construction, which will take up to 2 to 3 years, but we needed an immediate solution. And so therefore, this matter was also clarified very well in one of the newspapers. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention the particular newspapers, but it was very well clarified where they reached out. I'm allowed to. I believe it was in the Windhoek Observer, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. but where they reached out for comments. It was either the Windhoek Observer or the Namibian Sun, where they reached out for us to explain because they had gotten hold of the story and it seemed as though we are opting, as what you're saying, for a less efficient system. Now, we clarified that. Let me explain this so that it's clear once and for all. The reason why we found that this might be more efficient is because, number one, we need space immediately to be able to house the pharmaceuticals, so it would provide for a shorter time period. Number two, when we did a cost-benefit analysis, the renovation of the facility would still allow us to get the state-of-the-art facility that we want without having to construct it, which would take years. Now, let me get to the crux of the matter. Most importantly, and it's interesting that you're saying Global Fund is complaining, because the Global Fund members, the country lead, were in my office just a few days ago. Honorable members holding up a newspaper. We don't deal with newspapers, we deal with the actual heads of these particular organizations. And so they were in my office, we had the conversation, and we have reached an understanding to say that they have certain requirements, and by a certain time we must be able to provide evidence of ownership of this place. And so conversations have gone in to say that there are certain processes taking place to say, where is this now in terms of ownership? Is a land swap being arranged? And once we have the ownership documents, we will provide it within the time that has been required. I believe I clarified this, but I hope this clarifies it. If not, please ask so that we can provide the proper clarification once and for all. Thank you.
Yes. Honorable Somail. Oh.
Thank you, Speaker. My question goes to the Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Honorable James Samkwasa. I'm glad that you are around today.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome back. Yeah, it's about the criteria that we are using to upgrade local authorities. Yeah, for a long time, there are towns like village councils like Kamaya who is seeking for upgrading. So I want to know the type of criteria. And on the other hand, until when will be the towns like Osakadi town councils, Ondangwa town councils, Ongodiba town councils become municipalities? It's now yes. Or is there a method to fund these towns from the national budget for their operations? So I want to hear what criteria are there. Because I'm sure that by now, Osakadi is supposed to be a municipality. Same with Ondangwa and Ngodiba. Small towns like Ogahandia or Maruru are municipalities. So I want to hear the criteria in this. So I submit, Speaker.
Yes, thank you. Now, yes, honorable members, I just wanted to say, because I can see I have one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have been listening to the questions. I decided to show flexibility today, but I'm going to make a ruling that would last the whole session, actually the whole term of our sitting. Yes, to say that, listen, honorable members, before I give the floor to the honorable minister to respond, the rule that I just read out now said all questions must be notified, and that the questions may only be asked without a notice if leave is given by the presiding officer on the basis of discretion. There must be a reason, there must be something in the question that says this question cannot wait. But what I have observed is that the honorable members have realized that they have created this. Yeah, this is like 300 questions. No, don't even make the chair to change her mind. Yeah, so we have created this because every day we come here and we ask more questions than do any other thing in this house. And now, because we realize that we can never get to the end of this question paper, we now want to take a shortcut. And we put our questions as urgent oral questions. So be warned, honorable members. the presiding officer will now start to strictly apply, or you may not interrupt the presiding officer when they are making a ruling. You may not interrupt. Honorable member, you will take your seat until the honorable presiding officer has finished making a ruling. And what I want to say is that the rules, and not the speaker, says the questions must be notified in writing. And from now on, that rule will be strictly applied, because the majority of the questions that are asked orally are not qualified to be asked without a notice. Like this one that is posed to Honorable Minister of Urban and Rural Development. That notwithstanding, I will allow for today as a last, so I will start listening today. Any question that is not passing the agency criteria will not be allowed. Now, Honorable Sankwasa, it's a flexibility that the presiding officer has.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
And the honorable member usually is very, very courteous.
I hope the question.
Yeah.
The person asking
Courteous.
the question is
So I
okay
give
to
him the
listening.
courtesy. Yes.
Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker and the members of this dear House, there is nothing urgent about the question asked. Nothing is urgent. If the honorable member wants to pose a question, we shall go into details what leads to the establishment of a town, from a settlement, how do you become a town council, how do you become a village council and a municipality, what are the criteria? Please put your question in writing, we shall provide an answer, but for now, nothing is urgent to your question.
Honorable members, you see, I cannot really compel the minister to answer there, because I'm also not able to establish what makes this question to qualify for agent oral. And what I must emphasize is that an agent question is not necessarily one that is just important. Something can be very important, but it does not qualify to be asked without a notice. Now, honorable members, I will proceed to Honorable Karonda. Okay, I'll get the gist of the point of privilege. Honorable Karonda, please take your seat. And then I'll get the gist. No, he asked for the point of privilege first. No, you didn't ask. You rose that time I was on the floor. Honorable member, maybe I must look for that rule. If the honorable member want to make a point of privilege, it is not done while the presiding officer is talking. Yeah, so the rule prohibits that the presiding officer is interrupted. But when the presiding officer is done, the honorable member can now ask for a floor to make a point of privilege. But I saw the other honorable member first. So if you like to come later, I will give you the floor and I will listen to your point of privilege. Now the honorable Kambala can continue.
Speaker, Speaker, we see your ruling, but mine is more for you, perhaps for you through the Prime Minister.
Okay, what point is that you are raising?
Point of privilege. I'll get the Speaker. I'll get the, just allow me to learn, please. That the ministers, when we ask questions, we are not doing anybody a favor to ask a question or seeking answers with a favor.
Honorable member, you are out of order.
I'm getting there.
What you are saying is out of order.
Just allow me to speak.
No. You can speak, but you may not say things that are out of order. The point here is not that you may not ask a question. It says the rule is saying you must put your... But honorable member,
just 1 minute, just one.
Can you hear me on this one? I don't want to be harsh. What I want to say to you is, let's speak in turns. Okay. Please don't speak over the presiding officer. Yeah, so when the presiding officer is speaking according to the rule, there will be silence. And then when the presiding officer is done, then you can continue. Okay. Because I didn't say take your seat. Okay. I just made the point.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, yes. So.
Yes. Yes, I'm just asking that when the ministers are answering our questions, they should also do it in a respectful manner. Not just answering because they're answering, but just be respectful, because you can also be respectful as well, Speaker. So I'm asking you to, through the Prime Minister, that his colleagues must, when they ask their questions, just be cautious, just be cordial within the decorum of the House, please. Because if you come in, ministers are just answering willy-nilly, and we don't want that to happen continuously.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think you have a point there, but your point is general. It doesn't help me. So if there is a specific case, you can always, on a point of procedure, ask the floor and say, presiding officer, it is my view that the response of the minister is not in alignment with the rules. Because otherwise, the principle you cited, I agree with. All of us are required in this house, you know, to be compliant with the rules and to be procedural and courteous in the way that we address one another in the house. Yeah, so the next, who was the, is it now Honorable, Honorable, your name again today? Honorable Ricardo. Yeah.
Just for the record, maybe the speaker has forgotten. My name is Honorable Roderick Likanda-Luela, the Chief Whip of IPC, the official opposition, and the Shadow Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism.
Very good.
Honorable Speaker, we respect you. And we ask you to apply the rules fairly as indicated in Rule 27. From the beginning when we began, these rules are at your table there, but you cannot be applying these rules only when they favor the situation that you want to do the ruling. They must be applied fairly. The issue of questioning, we have been asking questions in this parliament, but you did not rule like the way you are ruling now. It was supposed to be done in the from the beginning, that this is how you are supposed to ask the questions. So we just ask the Speaker to be consistent, apply the rules fairly as stipulated in Rule 27. Otherwise, Speaker, you are confusing us. Thank you very much for listening.
The presiding officer is fair and consistent. Can I be heard in silence? I listen to Honorable Ricardo in silence. Why is it that you speak together in a chorus out of order? No. Yeah. So, Honorable Ricardo, the rules are applied consistently and fairly, and I have ruled questions out of order. There are many times where I have said this question is not urgent, and therefore it cannot be allowed as such. Now I'll allow only one, because there is no entitlement for us to use 20 minutes making points of order. Now that's the last one that is coming. Because I don't want tomorrow, when I don't allow it, for Honorable Ricardo to say I'm inconsistent. We can't discuss point of privileges.
Yes, thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I'd like to direct the Speaker to Rule 135 of our Standing Rules and Orders, specifically Sub-Rule 135. Yes. Specifically Sub-Rule 2C. Urgent questions may be asked without notice, must be short and to the point, and must, as far as possible, be answered immediately, Honourable Speaker. Just to guide the Honourable Sankwasa, through you, Speaker, of course.
Yes, you are correct, Honourable Member, that the urgent questions, and the word I underline is urgent question. When a question has been ruled not to be urgent, then it cannot be answered immediately. It has to be notified. And I have agreed with Honorable Sankwasa and have ruled that question not urgent. So it's not unknown. So now, having said that, Honorable Members, it's now a time for break in the House. It's now, we were actually supposed to rise at 20 to 4, but I would allow Honorable Nashinge the point. I don't know what point he wants to make, but it's time, Honorable Members, we have a time, we have to break. Yeah, no, he said it's a point of privilege. Honorable Members, you cannot argue with the presiding officer. Honorable Thomas, you cannot argue. When a presiding officer has made the ruling to give a floor, you can't argue. I don't know now what you are saying. Should I ask him to sit down so that you can speak or what? It cannot happen like that. The honorable member has the floor, and he would now have his say.
Thank you, Speaker. I really just wanted to remind us, as children of this country, that today marks 121 years since the evil and demonic Lothar van Trotta ordered the killings of the people of Namibia, the Namas, on the 22nd of April 1905. I really just wanted to remind us that, and perhaps the Honorable Speaker, we can have a moment of silence to remember those that suffered and sacrificed, got their life sacrificed for us to be where we are today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a very important point. May we rise for a moment of silence? For the victims of the order, from the order of von Trotta. So, yes, that's the explanation. Honorable members, can we have a moment of silence? Thank you. We may take our seats. Now, interestingly, I was hearing questions there, but I don't know whether I should answer the question because those questions are an indictment on us. Because if our young ones are asking who is Lothar von Trotta, it says something. So it says that really we must look in our history books. We should maybe try to find another way of discussing these issues so that we have an appreciation. Honorable member, the matter is so serious. I thought everybody would be looking so sober. Yeah, to say the truth, if we had all thought about it earlier, we were going to say let's even be dressed in black or white, victory or whatever we decide. But today we were really supposed to, to act like it's that day when we are reminded of it. No, please don't quip in when I am making a ruling, honorable member. According to the rules, the presiding officer can name a member. And after that, the member can be referred to a privileges committee. So I don't want to really us to spoil this moment. So the honorable member drew our attention to the fact that this is a day, those years ago, when this person, inhumane, and I don't know what other words to use to describe him, made that order that resulted in the genocide against our people. And it's a day of soberness. It's a day that we rededicate ourselves to the ideals that those ancestors died for, and we try to take this country to the destination that they wanted it to go to. Yes, the struggle continues. Very good. Yeah, now, honorable members, can we have a break now of only 10 minutes? Because we have now used up our time. In fact, we were supposed to do this as first thing if Honorable Ims had told me. we please take our seats? Okay, now we have a few more honorable members on the list, and we note that we are really spending a lot of time on the routine of the day. Honorable Karonda is next. He's not here. Honorable Shitana, not here. Honorable Thomas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, good afternoon. My urgent question to Dr. Lubindao. We don't put you on pressure, but we are asking to help. Dr. Lubindao, there is a report, even today, I think it was also said here in the Parliament, that hospital, their lack of this anesthetic, that is whether injection or so on. Today, 5 women, which was booked today for operation at Nanjokwe, they were referred back because this medicine is not there. Now my question, these people, they were, these women, they were booked to be operated. This, how do you call this one? Is a doctor's Caesareans section or something. Caesareans. Caesarean. That is correct.
Yes.
I'm not a teacher, I'm a preacher. So now, since last week, this medication is not in hospital. And these women, they were booked for operation today, but this medicine is not in hospital. This is urgent. Need the doctor to intervene. Doctor cannot send people back home who are in pain. Why can't they not refer the patient to the next hospital? Now, what will happen now if that person go and die at home? So that is maybe a bit of clarity there.
Okay, Honorable Minister of Health.
That these anesthetics are very important. The one particular that I'm aware of is propofol. Now, I wish to highlight 2 things from that circulating release. It's unfortunate that I wasn't in the House when it was previously asked, but just to set the record straight, this is particularly the cases that were cancelled are elective cases and not emergency cases. Now, the reason I'm clarifying this is to say we do have certain anesthetics in stock, including ketamine and the rest. The propofol is the preferred agent for certain operations, and in this particular case for elective surgeries. Elective means these are non-emergency cases. So it does not mean that if a woman comes in and urgently needs a C-section, we will not be able to perform it. No. We are able to perform emergencies. The reduction or low stock, you are 100% correct, was in the aspect of propofol, and with specific specialists in specific cases, they prefer the use of propofol and not ketamine or other agents because of the side effects of the others. So do we have for emergency cases? Yes. Has propofol been out of stock in certain facilities? Yes. As of last week already, we undertook the procedures to start that procurement process. That has fully begun, and we are expecting deliveries within the next few days to plug that gap. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Yes, now we only have a minute, almost 2 minutes. Honorable Shitana is not here. Honorable Ampanda is not here. Honorable Kandorodo. I don't know whether we can. Is it Honorable Karonda? Okay, I don't know what is happening with my list. Honorable Karonda, you are the last. Make your question very brief so that it can get an answer.
No. Thank you. It's to the Minister of Commemoration. The prepaid water meters, electricity and so on, they seem to have found favor with most local authorities in the country. It is common cause that our people are poor, most unemployed, and cannot afford these services. Now, is it government policy that even if you are poor and you cannot afford, you now can cut yourself because there's a machine that you must use? If you don't have the money to pay, then you don't have the service? Is that the policy of government? And what has been the impact assessment of this? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sankwasa.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. A very, very precise question. One, water in Namibia has been demarcated, established in two categories. There is water in the communal areas. There is water supply in towns or localities. Now, water was before independence or before the establishment of NAM water was supplied as a government service for free. But due to the costs that were involved, NAM water was established so that it could manage water on an effective and efficient way. Therefore, prepaid meters are intended to say there must be cost recovery. The cost of putting up all those water infrastructure has to be recovered, even if it's not 100%. Therefore, consumers are expected to pay. And the reason why prepaid meters are introduced is because people continued receiving water but never paid for it. Right now, local authorities owe NAM water almost 7.5 billion. And in some of the local authorities, in 2022-2023 financial year, the government budgeted and it disbursed the funds to those local authorities to install prepaid meters so that local authorities could generate revenue to run their own affairs. But some local authorities chose not to install. Until now, they misuse that money for something else instead of using it for prepaid meters. So prepaid meters is intended, yes, whatever you want to consume, you cannot go to ShopRite and say, since ShopRite is established in Namibia, we can come and get bread for free. Water is life, I accept, but when there is infrastructure involved, it has to be paid for in a minimal fee, not maximum fee. So it's unfortunate that people must pay for what they consume. That's the standpoint. And without them paying, local authorities have no revenue to run their affairs, even to supply that, continue supplying that water. I hope I've answered the question, Luis.
Yes, thank you, Honourable Member. Now, first, the time is up. Secondly, I think I have made this appeal before. I have noted that some of the issues that are queried, it's not really queries as in questions looking for answers. It's us in highlighting issues where there are concerns. So we actually want to debate issues. We want certain policies to be re-looked at. And I want to remind the members that we can actually discuss these matters by other means so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. And I just want to say that generally, because asking a question when you kind of know the answer but you just don't agree with the policy is not going to help. So it's better that we take these matters up in discussions. Now, having said that, we proceed to the next item on the routine, which is a notice of motions. We are done with questions. The time has lapsed. So notices of motions. Okay, Honorable Ampanda. No, was it a question? Okay, Honorable Ricardo.
Mr. Speaker, though I am asking for a permission because I have 3 notices of motion here. Maybe I can just read them all and then send them if I'm allowed.
Yeah, Honorable Member, it depends. Let me look at this rule again. Time limit, it's 85, is it? 85. So, motions, once. So, you move one motion, Honorable Member.
One,
yeah.
at a time.
Yeah, once. You have one chance to move a motion. So, you can't have 2 or 3 or 4.
Okay, thank you.
Ministers, when they have two bills, just once.
Yeah, it depends on what is in here. Because like I say, this is not a determination of the presiding officer. It's a prescription of the House as reflected in the rules.
Yes, yes, we agree.
Yes.
So even ministers, just one.
No, now, first you are out of order, Professor, because you are speaking from a seated position.
Okay, thank you.
And it's not a tit for tat, you know, it's about what is prescribed here. Yes, Honorable Ricardo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah.
I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H, read together with Rule 761D of the Standing Rules, Orders and Internal Arrangements, that leave of absence be granted to Honorable Rodney Klute as from 26 to 30 April 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, the Honorable Member may please table the motion. Yes, Honorable Karuku.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H, read with Rule 76, Sub-Rule 1D of the Standing Rules, Order and Internal Arrangement, that leave of absence be granted to Honorable Feni Tuchawi from 28th to the 30th of April 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, please table the motion. Yes, Honorable may table the motion. What are you concerned about? Yeah, Honorable Klute? You are late.
Honorable Speaker, I hereby give notice that on the 28th of April 2026, I shall move the following motion. That this Assembly notes that several national financial reports have required beneficial ownership transparency for legal persons, and that it is a concern that regulatory authority cannot be effectively exercised over entities whose beneficial owners are not known to the regulator or to the public. Therefore resolves that the government be requested to introduce a beneficial ownership registry bill providing for a public searchable machine-readable registry. The registry shall cover at minimum all companies holding extractive licenses, all companies party to public procurement contracts above a statutory threshold, all companies party to production sharing agreements, and all public enterprises and their subsidiaries. The registry shall be established as a central facility operated by an independent entity reporting to Parliament, and that the matter be referred to the appropriate standing committee for further consideration and report. I so move.
Yes, please table the motion. Does the PM want to rise on a point of what? Point of order or point of? Yes. No. If the Right Honourable Prime Minister wishes to rise to seek clarity, you may rise on a point of privilege, maybe, and raise the query.
No, I just wanted to make sure that I understand the honourable member's motion. It sounded as if, and he can correct me, something pertaining to beneficial ownership. That is now the companies. And if that is the understanding, I just wanted to know whether the honourable member is aware that that is precisely what BIPA is doing. And if that is the case, and the honourable member is saying something impartial or something independent, is that now to take it from outside government and have it be regulated outside? And if that is the case, under what legislation would that be done? It's just a clarity I wanted to find out.
Yes, Honourable Klute, would you like to say something on that?
Speaker, by your advice, we keep the notice of motivations very short. And most likely the PM didn't hear very correctly, but we will discuss that when I know.
Yeah, so I'm raising because it's procedurally, it's extremely, well, Honorable Klute is justified in terms of being able to advance that position, but it's not just him, it opens up all of us. Because we will be submitting our motions and they will be interrogated immediately, like what the Prime Minister did. So he's competent and qualified to do that. But it's a very dangerous, it's your determination, Speaker. If there's any issue with the motion, you cannot invite that discussion. So the Prime Minister took chances with it and he succeeded. But it's not supposed to have happened because tomorrow we will be interrogated by this executive on all our motions before we even motivate them. You see? So Speaker, if the motion is out of order, you usually say, oh, I'm going to check, I'm going to consult, I'm going to check whether there's any issue. But once we do that, it's a... So, I'm just seeing today we might not see anything wrong with it. But tomorrow, when Honorable Likando stands up, Meme Ndirino will just say, no. So if we start with the Prime Minister, other ministers can also do it. So it's a...
Yes. Okay. Now, Honorable Member, I think the Prime Minister wanted to query. It still remains for the presiding officer to make a ruling. But I hear what you are saying, but it still remains for the presiding officer to make a ruling. No, Honorable Member, just calm. So let the Honorable Member finish so that I can make a ruling in that regard. Yes.
The words out of my mouth, what I wanted to say, it's up to the Speaker to determine. Yeah. If I was allowed the chance to just finish, I would have.
Yes, okay. So, fine. I think the Right Honorable Prime Minister asked the question. I was trying to read the motion, and I was about finished reading it, but I think the long and short of what the Prime Minister has queried is, what is the motion seeking for? Is what the motion seeking for not what is done by another institution that is established and is in existence. So in that, but leave the presiding officer to make a ruling. You see, one wrong is equal to another wrong. You see, your honorable members are trying to assist the presiding officer to say there may be a problem there, but you need also to do it in a manner that complies with the rules. So now, having said that, no, honorable member, I must finish first, just to say, no, I just want to make a ruling to say that will come out in the motivation of the honorable member. And then if it is found, no, honorable member, yeah, so if it is found after the motivation is done, that what is being requested is already being done, it is up to this House to decide to not support the motion. Yeah? Yes, on what point, honorable member?
Your conclusion is agreed upon. But what I think Honorable Job said, and I want to add, is just to caution that we cannot have motions coming in and then we have members of the executive scrutinizing and asking. I think that is very dangerous. Let the relevant body within the House be the one to do that, because it will go to the committees. Because PM will come back again tomorrow. He will come back tomorrow and ask a similar question on a different motion.
Yes.
So I think this should be the first and the last time we are doing this.
No, honorable member, that point is ruled out of order now. That point is ruled out of order. Members of Parliament are members of Parliament first and foremost, before they are anything else. The only time that the members, honorable members, you see, separation of powers does not mean that members of cabinet do not have the same right that other members of Parliament have. They all have the same right. But the only time, honorable members, the only time that a separation comes is when the questions provide for the Parliament, members of Parliament, non-executive members, but even executive members, to ask questions to specific ministers on issues related to their sector. That is when a minister then is treated as a minister and not just as a member of Parliament, and then they have now to account to the House. But I have made the ruling already now. I have explained I have explained to say, yes, when a member of parliament, whether they are a cabinet member or not a cabinet member, feels that the matter that is being queried by another member is already clarified somewhere, they have to wait until it's time for them to make that contribution. I have made that ruling, and you have all said that you are in agreement. So may we now proceed, honorable members. The next person is Honorable Mouton, and he has the floor.
I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H, read together with Rule 76(1)(d) of the Standing Rules and Orders and Internal Arrangements, that leave of absence be granted to Honorable Bertha Nifikwa as from 22 April 2026 until further notice. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Questions?
Nice one. Yes. You see, Honorable Mouton is welcoming of questions. Yeah, Honorable Kanguru.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H, read together with Rule 76, Sub 1A of the Standing Rule Order and International Arrangement, that leave of absence be granted to the following members: Almas Amkoto, Honorable Isla Kanyemba, Honorable Lilian Rutehezi, as from the 21st to the 23rd of April 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, member, may please take over the motion. Yes, and ministerial statements? None. Reports from the Committee of the Whole Assembly and consequential proceedings? Then orders of the day. The Secretary will now read the first order of the day.
Resumption of debate on second reading, Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill.
When the Assembly adjourned on Wednesday, the 12th of November, 2025, the question before the Assembly was a motion by the Right Honorable Prime Minister that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Shifeta had the floor, and he may now continue. Is it a point of order? Yes, point of procedure. Honorable Shifeta, can you please take your seat for a moment?
Maybe my fellow members understand what has just happened, because I was prepared to and ready to contribute to the, what was it? The mental health bill at committee stage level. And I see on the order paper it appears nowhere.
Yes. Yes. On the order paper, yes, it is the last, because there was a discussion about the procedure yesterday, and I understand that there is a process that is going on. That process is not concluded, and we have decided to start with that other bill. In terms of the rule that says the Secretary, in consultation with the presiding officer, would determine the order of the day. Okay. Thank you. The Honorable Shifeta may proceed, please.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the floor. I meant my contribution was last year, or this year, and it's sometimes ago. Now it's supposed to be 10 minutes, I don't know, 15 minutes. I'm being deprived here, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker?
Yes, please.
I want to call attention to this deprivement.
Okay, so the time limit is not correct, is that what you're saying? The time is not set at the correct
Where
limit.
is it? Yeah. Now that's the case.
Let me check.
Last year,
Honorable Member, can we just verify what the time should be? All bills except appropriation bill Other members have 5 minutes. The members have 5 minutes. It's a...
Which rule, Honorable Speaker?
Rule 85. It says member charged with the business, 30 minutes. Leader of government business, 20 minutes. Leader of official opposition, 20 minutes. Other members, 15. Yeah. No, that's first reading. Then all bills except appropriation bill committee said, okay, it's 15 minutes.
Committee stage.
Yeah, we are 15 minutes. You are correct.
Thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, last year previously I made my comments specifically on the issues that I wanted the Prime Minister to look at and amend, especially on the coordination. And also especially between the board and the relevant minister or minister, because I meant it that we shouldn't overlook boards and allow CEOs to report, MDs to report directly to policymakers. So it is an anomaly. So there are in certain cases, especially commercial entities, CEOs cannot divulge information to the minister that is a shareholder. It is only the board that can do that, because the board has got a fiduciary duty. So I think that one, apart from that and the others that I maintain my comment on, I just raised to support the Public Enterprise Governance Amendment Bill brought to this House by the right Prime Minister. I do so because the bill speaks to a problem every Namibian understands. We have too many public enterprises that cost us more than they deliver. I'm content this bill reinforces the Principal Act in governance practices of our public enterprises with aim to deliver on their mandates. Honorable members, the issue is not that we lack talent. It is not that our board or our ministers do not care. The issue is structure and lack of compliance. For too long, ministers and board have operated without sometimes a clear understanding and enforcement framework for coordination. And I see that there's an attempt to fill up this lumina. Policy directions arrives late, sometimes, especially in the past, because of lack of understanding who's supposed to do what, and also sometimes change in mid-year. Boards appointed but not properly monitored, or no compelled to perform accordingly. And CEO answers to two ministers, and sometimes, it's satisfied neither. And we experience that. The result is paralysis, and the taxpayer funds that paralysis. This bill corrects that anomaly. Let me highlight 3 reasons why the House should pass this bill, this amended bill. First, it clarifies who does what in terms of board appointments. Clause 8 to 13 of the bill draws a clean line between the relevant minister or minister and the board. The relevant minister sets national policy, approves the strategic business plan, and evaluates outcomes. The board translates policies into commercial strategy appoints the CEO and it drives performance. No board should decide national policy. This ends the blame game and creates space for accountability. Second, it institutionalizes coordination. Clause 25 introduces the coordination between the minister or relevant minister and the prime minister. This is a very statutory requirement. I think that needs to be in place. Honorable Speaker, good governance is not accidental. It is scheduled. This mechanism replaces corridors institutions with transparent engagement. It means decisions will be timely, documented, and binding. Third, it enforces performance. This bill makes governance agreements and the performance agreements mandatory with the measurable financial and service delivery indicators. If any enterprise requires a public service obligation, Treasury must fund it explicitly. If it does not, then the enterprise must stand on its own feet. We cannot preach commercial discipline while practicing soft budgetary constraints. This bill gives the board the authority to manage and the responsibility to deliver. Honorable members, some will ask, does this bill weaken ministerial oversight? No. It strengthens that oversight by making it strategic instead of operational. Others will ask, does this bill give a board a blank check? Again, no. Boards will now perform reviews against signed targets. In that line, non-performance must face consequences. And I hope now that the Prime Minister will be there to coordinate all the positions, this compliance should be reinforced, and including even removing some of the members, board members. With authority comes accountability. Honorable Speaker, Namibia's public enterprise control assets worth over 60 billion. If even half of them performed at a private sector level or benchmarks, we would unlock jobs, dividends, and the better services without raising a single tax. I trust this amendment before us is the legal instrument to unlock that value. I therefore urge this House to support this bill. Let us vote for productivity in public enterprises. Let us vote for clear rules, structural coordination, and really accountability. I support the bill. Thank you.
Ampanda.
Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker. Yeah, so
yes, can you say the time, please?
yeah. So while we are setting time on this free time before my time, I've always had a problem with the PEGA legislation. And that problem has always been an ideological problem. Because historically, what has always happened is that the public sector worldwide at one point started not performing as it should. And the solution by some was that what do we do with the problem that the public sector is having. The solution that some propose is that we must bring private sector principles to the public sector. That's where the history of this neoliberal thinking. So, trying to solve a problem that was experienced in government during that time, you then brought in this philosophy of neoliberalism, which means the role of government must just be to build the road so that people can come and drive with their own cars. The role of government must just pay salaries and people will sort of themselves out in terms of housing. Those ideas that are preoccupied by the World Bank. So it was always a problem. So when we see this amendment, we thought that, okay, somebody somewhere is also seeing where the problem is. What PEGA does, and in terms to advance that neoliberalism orientation, it says in the original act, it says that the function and the power of the minister is to establish generally accepted common principles of corporate governance and good practices governing public enterprises. This means absolutely nothing. In Africa, in Southern Africa, there's a white man called King. He's a South African guy. He makes a lot of money from lazy people. He writes books in volume 1, volume 2. You find all these people who are CEOs, according to King 1, King 2, King what. So when you ask people, they literally even write theses on corporate governance. But there's no general agreed term. There is no law that says this is what corporate governance is. It's all based on the book and volumes of one South African. People now create careers. There is even an organization called the Organization of Corporate Governance, what. They call conferences, ministers go there and they build their profiles. They become managers and CEO because they are apparently expert in an elusive concept called corporate governance. No one can actually tell you what this thing is. It's not a science, it's not anything, it's just a, no, that's not corporate governance. But if you just ask them what is corporate governance, they will not be able to do that. Now, the law, the existing PEGA Act that is being amended, says that the minister must establish generally accepted, which it doesn't say by who. All the ministers that minister is not here, that we have ever had, none of the ministers ever told us what are these generally acceptable principles of corporate. They put it even in the law. So that act, this amendment is not changing that. It's simply saying to us, where it was referred to, they created this relevant minister and relevant minister. Minister meaning Minister of Public Enterprises and relevant minister being the portfolio minister. So what this amendment seeks to do is just to say, whoever was the Minister of Public Enterprises is now the Prime Minister. So we are waiting for because they are not amending. This amendment is not changing that section 4.1b. So they are just saying, replace minister with Prime Minister. So Prime Minister, you are then expected during this time, because you are not amending this, to establish generally accepted common principle of corporate governance. Pause the time.
Point of order, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mpanda. You are getting well. I just wanted to understand that all what we are talking about here, our public enterprise, especially commercial public enterprises, if you look at the Companies Act, all these are structured there. Good governance, how things should be done, how they're supposed to report, their performance, all these are, they lie down there. That's where we drive our principle in this act, from there.
Okay, wonderful. None, even in the Companies Act or even in this act, you will not find a definition of what is good governance. So if you accept this thing of good governance, it means there's such a bad government or get bad governance. Maybe we do have bad governance, particularly in Namibia. When we are able to define even the concept that you are trying to find refuge in, we'll be able to do that. So, firstly, we must have that conversation. This amendment doesn't seek to address this issue of these elusive principles, whatever they are. Yeah? We will understand towards the end of my contribution. Now, we will still be expecting of the Prime Minister to perform, because Minister is now replaced by Prime Minister. It doesn't refer to Companies Act, it just say the Minister who is now the Prime Minister in terms of this Act must establish the generally accepted common principles, generally accepted by my grandmother or by who we don't know, but he must develop them. They have never been developed. Yes, it's supposed to be us as lawmakers, but this government, we have accepted king. We just find you stand up there and you speak, king, 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 king. And king makes a lot of money. He has a thick book. I think that book is what, 2,000 or something. Probably all those CEOs, they buy it for all the employees with government money. So Prime Minister, since there is no amendment on that specific issue, we expect performance in terms of that. Now, what this PEGA does, the second point that I'm trying to make, what this PEGA Act seeks to do is to change the old regime orientation. The old regime had a Ministry of Public Enterprises. Yeah? It had that. So now when the 8th administration took over, you could see what they want to do. You do away with the Ministry of Public Enterprises. The responsibility of the Minister of Public Enterprises, you give it to the Prime Minister. That's one. Number two, what they also seek to do, now this is in the amendment, they say here, which is a good thing, to say, let's restore what was there. Clause 6 says that subsection 6 of the Principal Act is amended by adding that despite subsection 1 and 2 and section 8, if the provision of an establishing law or document requires nomination from various institutions or person for constitution of a board of a public enterprise, that establishing law or document applies. So this is a very important thing for us to note. So what this amendment says to us, if the board of UNAM was 23 people, yeah, in terms of this amendment, and if that law of UNAM Act of 1992 or 93 says that there must be nomination, when we pass this amendment, that law would apply. That's the first thing that is. So this amendment restore the original position. That's why with PEGA Act, before the amendment, we found for the first time a University of Namibia run by 7 people. They are run by 7 people because section 4(2)(a) of the old Act says that the board must consist of between 5 and 7 people. So now what this Act says is that it restores that original position, which is good when you read it. But bad lawmaking and bad writing, they then continue and saying, they bring back that act of whether it's health professional, we must go back to that old tradition where organization can nominate. Like health professional council, you must have a dentistry must nominate, nursing must nominate, psychology must nominate and all that. But the same provision goes and say, the relevant minister may, with due regard to section 4(2)(a), and with the concurrence of a prime minister, reduce the number of board members to be appointed. On one hand, you are saying, let's go back to the original position. But on the other hand, you are also saying, no, this one they can also reduce. What does 4(a) say? 4(a) says that the board members now of PEGA says 4(a), you need to have between 5 and 7 members of the board or a further number. So now this amendment opens up so that we can go back to the original position. But at the same time, you are giving powers for the minister to limit composition of board members. Now, where are you going to limit? Between 5 and 7, the further one can only come when, for example, the University of Namibia, there must be nomination from a municipality, nomination from a Ministry of Finance. Where are you going to get the limitation from? So you have those contradictions in terms of what you'll be able to say. So it's just bad writing, because it's the only clause that speaks about reduction. But the purpose of an amendment is to go back so that an institution such as the University of Namibia cannot be governed by 5 people. Because the orientation of PEGA is talking about MITCO and other things. You can have that small team, but you don't run a university or a health professional council or all these institutions. Why a lawmaker had called for nomination from organization is for a particular purpose. So there is an oversight in this amendment, because you can't. Because if this amendment is to be sustained in the current format, it basically means that you are now saying, yes, bring your nomination, dentistry, bring your nomination, psychologists, bring your nomination, but nursing, bring your nomination. But after you get those nominations, the minister has discretion to reduce. Meaning, where do you reduce? You can only reduce by one of the institutions that are sending. It can be veterinary. It can be whatever the case may be. So there's bad lawmaking there, the writing of the law. The other aspect that I just want to highlight, again, is this language that we've just adopted from Europeans, is limited liability. You find it on section 39 of both the original act and this one. It says this, neither, but remember this amendment introduces another thing. It says, now ministers can now develop, in consultation with the Prime Minister, this thing called dividend policy. The ministers are actually even given powers to actually even on issues of employees. Yes, granted, SOEs have been operating on their own for whatever the reason, to give more power to a minister to be able to engage. That's why energy can reduce itself to a cash flow. That minister there doesn't have power. He can call a press conference like how he wants to do, but if he's not given power to deal with the institution, so we agree there. But you are now giving ministers power to interfere, to propose dividends, to even discuss issues of investment. But the Act has limited liability. It says, neither the relevant minister, the Prime Minister, nor any person engaged in carrying out any provision of this Act is liable in respect of anything done or omitted in good faith. In good faith, and not attributable to intent of negligence. Now, why is Esau in jail? Why is Mulunga? Why was Mulunga arrested? If Mulunga makes an argument that no, whatever I did, it was in good faith. This law, this amendment doesn't define to us what is good faith. The principle, the PEGA Act also doesn't define what good faith is. It just says in good faith. In fact, we must actually define good faith today, because ministers and board members, we're now talking about dividend policy and investment. So, and I know the lawyers will have a field day who are representing these people, because if it's so established in terms of, it says, if it says that anybody, if you just say in good faith, yeah, if you say it's in good faith, you just find that, no, the minister was involved and so-and-so as a CEO, he said, neither the minister, nor the Prime Minister, or any person. So you are making an amendment to give more powers to ministers, which we agree with, to get involved in those activities, including investment, but you are indemnifying them. You are indemnifying them that no, they now get involved. It even says staff members. You know, the Prime Minister can now even make regulation, not just of the boards and CEOs, but also senior staff members. But the Prime Minister and the Minister is indemnified. So we have a problem, again, is this type of lawmaking where we just take concept. Because everybody can say it's good faith. I said, no, I did that thing in good faith. Mulunga can argue that Sungur, I think there's a question that is asked in terms of those things.
Order, Honorable. Point of order, point of privilege. Yes.
No,
okay.
We are debating.
Honorable, there is a point of order.
Yeah, Professor, I've been listening very attentively to the arguments you are making. But don't you agree that in the legal field, the principle of good faith is it's an established international practice that you must act in a certain way. So good faith is not something that any legislation will come and define legislation about good faith. Because good faith is an international principle. It's an international legal principle that is established in law. You can find it in any international law, in any instrument of international law. It's a principle of bona fide. It has been adjudicated all over the world. So I'm trying to say, I agree with what you are saying on the number of other issues. But when you are saying, for example, you are a professor and a very well-learned person, to argue that King is just a South African who is making money. No, you are wrong by saying that. You are wrong because you are even professors yourself that can become authority in a certain area if you have studied a certain area. And that's the basis of academia. So I can't believe that you are saying because we are legislating, we must now have a way of adjudicating what is bona fide, while bona fide is a legal international principle that exists and that can be adjudicated in court of law. So I want you to correct yourself there on the principle of bona fide.
Yes, honorable members, I know that we are all very learned MPs, the three of you, Honorable Shifeta, Honorable Venani, Honorable Ampanda. But I have guided the House to say, however tempting it may be, to take on another MP that is on the floor on the accuracy or convincing nature of their argument. It's better that we do that when we make our intervention. Otherwise, we will just be disruptive because we want to hear what the member is saying, and then the other member will take the floor and argue with the member. Yeah.
Yes. No, it's fine. Let me I'll deal with that. You see, that's exactly what the problem. We are not saying good faith doesn't exist. But the problem is that when you are engaged in the process of thinking and production, you have to think of the problems. You know why we are having here? You see, for 36 years, there was never any issue about public interest. It was never an issue. We all assume that we understand what public interest, until Nipunya went to court and said, why are you saying, the prosecution is saying you are denying me bail, it's not in public interest. The judges went to make a ruling that this public interest thing is not defined. So public interest in our court is no longer being used as important as it is because the lawmaker did not define it. We are not talking about how good those concepts are. We are actually effectively talking about, as lawmakers, outside there we can have these things and articulate them. Yeah? So, but the problem is that not that King is bad. We are simply just saying, are we unable to think as a people? 3 million of us. Are we unable to think? So, if the court are also telling us that you must define concept as lawmakers, we must also define what good faith means. Even we can say we agree with international people, whatever it is that they are saying. So there is problems with this good spirit, but bad lawmaking. So we need to be able to come and touch base on some of these issues. You see, Honorable Venani, you took my time. Speaker doesn't want to give me 1 minute. Can I conclude?
Okay, only one, but please.
Only 1 minute, yes. So what is it that we are finding with this amendment? This amendment does good things, but it ignores a lot. You are going to have another problem because Section 41, this PEGA thing, when they crafted it because they wanted to take control, they crafted the law and they put Section 41 that says, if there is any conflict in any future, any conflict between the PEGA Act and all other laws in our country, PEGA will take precedence. You find it in Section 41. But that section is not being amended. So I guess maybe the idea is to accommodate the changes in government, but there are more problems that we have with PEGA, and we are not attending to them. We can be sympathetic in these 4 seconds that I have. We can be sympathetic with the amendment, but we must qualify that the amendment is not necessarily sufficient for us to solve the problems that we have. You will see, for example, the non-commercial public enterprises. You see, PEGA, these principles of corporate governance and then corporate citizenship and what do you then say of the National Heritage Council of Reverend April? Yeah? Are museums supposed to be corporate citizen, whatever that thing means? Because we don't define these things. So there's a lot of amendments because all of a sudden, even universities are apparently public enterprises and corporate, and universities an enterprise. We call a university an enterprise. We call a museum an enterprise of the public, whatever that means. So let's define the concept, whatever it is that we mean, so that we don't have judges telling us that that concept is not applicable. Thank you.
Very good. Honorable Mashindande.
Thank you very
Please,
much,
set the time.
Honorable Speaker. Before I give my contribution to the PEGA, I perhaps want to start with what Senior Honorable Shifeta said right there, that the Prime Minister of the day. So what does that tell us, Honorable Speaker, is that we are legislating for the Prime Minister of the day. And I keep saying in this assembly that the moment that we make laws, because today's Honorable, Right Honorable PM that we have can execute, tomorrow we will have Emmanuel Fishrot, who will come and use that very same law to mess up the country, as is of the past. Having said that, Emmanuel Fishrot, having said that, Honorable Speaker, I rise as Shadow Minister of Finance to speak to the Public Enterprise Governance Amendment Bill of 2025, as introduced by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. This bill presented as a reform measure to enhance efficiency and accountability in our state-owned enterprises. The truth is, it raises profound concerns about governance, integrity, institutional balance, and the erosion of oversight mechanisms that safeguards public resources. There is everything wrong, honorable members. It cannot be right that the same government under the SWAPO party keeps changing like seawater. And I'll tell you why. From 1990 to 2000, SOEs were underlying ministries. From 2000 to 2010, SOEs were moved to an SOEs Governance Council chaired by the President. In 2015, the same SWAPO government moved, because maybe they were advised, they then moved the SOEs to a dedicated ministry of public enterprises. In 2020, they dissolved the dedicated ministry and its functions were given to the Minister of Finance. And as of 2015, the same SWAPO government then puts the SOEs back under the line ministries. What is happening? Same party, changing every year, just like the seawater. Reform of public enterprises in Namibia is not only necessary, it is urgent. For years, many of our SOEs have underperformed, imposed fiscal burdens, and failed to deliver optimal public value. However, honorable members, bad governance cannot be cured by concentrating powers. It can only be cured by strengthening institutions. We must strengthen institutions and not concentrate power. Tomorrow when we have Emmanuel Fishrot, we will suffer the consequences of bad lawmaking. We must rather strengthen checks and balances and accountability. At the heart of this bill lies a fundamental structural shift, the transfer of significant powers to the Prime Minister, including authority over appointment, removal, and oversight of boards and executives. Oh my God. This effectively places the commanding heights of our public enterprises under a single political office. This bill could grant the Prime Minister full control over SOEs if passed in its nature, including board appointments and executive management decisions. This bill risks collapsing the separation between ownership, policy directions, and oversight, which globally acceptable governance frameworks that Professor Ampanda is talking about. Article 41, honorable members of the Constitution, says that all ministers are accountable individually for the administration of their own ministries and collectively for the administration of the work of cabinet, both to the President and Parliament. No way does it say the Prime Minister. No way. Or how will the Prime Minister account for these SOEs to Parliament? How? Show me any article, honorable members, in the Constitution which is similar to 41. Any article at all that is similar to Article 41. Show it to me. We have a problem there. The Principal Act of 2019 sought, at least in theory, to professionalize board and insulate them from undue interference, yet this amendment undermines that objective. The bill, in its form, empowers political authorities to appoint and remove board members and CEOs, determine remuneration, imagine, determine remuneration frameworks, and approve strategic and financial plans. This effectively reduces board to administration extensions of the executive. Honorable members, the moment boards lose independence, they cease to be governance bodies and become compliance instruments. If boards cannot act independently, who challenges poor decisions, Honorable Prime Minister? Who protects minority shareholders in commercial SOEs? And who ensures long-term sustainability over short-term political expediency? I so ask. The bill claims to clarify powers and enhance accountability. In reality, it diffuses accountability across multiple in one office. The Prime Minister with predominant authority, line ministers with operational oversight, and the Minister of Finance retaining shareholders' functions, such as dividend approval. This creates a triangular governance structure without clear lines of accountability. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, when everyone is responsible, no one is actually responsible. And Parliament's oversight role is also weakened. While ministers may table reports, the decision-making locus shifts away from transparent, accountable process and executive discretion. The amendment to Section 40 is particularly troubling, very, very troubling. It allows the Prime Minister with cabinet consensus to exempt public enterprises from provisions of the Act. This introduces a governance loophole of the highest order. By implicating a failed SOE could be exempted from governance standards, procurement, even reporting or compliance obligations could be bypassed. Political consideration could override statutory safeguards. This is what the Act is saying. The bill includes provisions that validate past actions taken by ministers and the Prime Minister retrospectively. Honorable members, retrospectively, validation is a dangerous legislative tool. It undermines legal uncertainty by shielding potential improper decisions from scrutiny. Whatever they did, this amendment says, whatever they did from as of March last year until now, apparently we must take it that they have acted in good faith, as Honorable is saying. So we should leave it and we should bless them, whatever it is that they did. We should just give them our blessings.
Imagine.
It will set a precedent that actions need not comply with the law. At that time, they are taken. What actions are we being asked to legitimize, really? It's a question. What are we going to legitimize? You know, it remains open. Honorable Speaker, this bill is presented as a governance reform, but in substance, it reflects a shift towards political control rather than institutional governance, as I've been saying. The bill promises efficiency. Its success depends on whether centralization leads to coordination or political consolidation, if I may put it that way. We must not confuse speed with sound governance, Honorable Prime Minister. Yes, centralization may enable fast decisions, but faster decisions are not necessarily better decisions. And they are certainly not more accountable decisions. This practice gave birth to fish rot in the past. We must be aware. Ironically, this bill does not adequately address the real problems facing SOEs, such as skills deficit, such as boards and, at board and executive levels. It does not address problems such as weak performance management systems. It does not address severe political interferences that we already have. It does not address lack of financial discipline and sustainability. Instead of strengthening independent audit functions, parliamentary oversight, and transparent appointment processes, the bill doubles down rather on executive authority. Very, very dangerous. When poorly governed, SOEs will require bailouts, as is already the practice, leading to accumulating debt guaranteed by the state. Crowds out social and developmental spending when we weaken governance structures. This bill, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, may also just increase fiscal risk rather than reducing it in its current format. As I conclude, the bill presented before us offers an opportunity but also poses a risk, a very serious risk. We cannot support a framework that concentrates powers without sufficient checks, that weakens board independence, that introduces board discretion, that exemptions and retrospective validations, that blurs accountability and ultimately undermines the principle of good corporate governance. I therefore propose that we reconsider the centralization of power in the office of the Prime Minister, and we strengthen and not weaken board independence. We must limit discretion, exemptions, and remove retrospective clauses in this whole thing. We must enhance Parliament oversight mechanisms. Honourable members, reform must not come at the cost of accountability. The quest for efficiency, Right Honourable Prime Minister, must not replace integrity. And power must never be concentrated without measuring the consequences. I so thank you.
Yes, Honorable Nashinge. Nashinge, Leader of Government with
Thank you very much, Honorable
Official
Speaker.
Opposition.
Thank you very much. I want to start off quickly with the... we were not persuaded by the 8th administration and the executive with these amendments. For example, simple things like, how is the Prime Minister going to implement and use this legal instrument practically? Is he going to have a team of professionals in his office that are going to focus on PEGA as a legal instrument to help him? How is it really going to work practically so? Now, Prime Minister, we know as an office, as an individual, is busy, you are all over the place, you must take care of everything, and then you must also worry about SOEs, how are they making profit, how are they being run, who are they recruiting, and so on. I think we have a very serious problem here. And as children of this country, at times we need to look at ourselves in the mirror, sit, and truly ask ourselves the question, what exactly do we want to do for this country? And how do we want to be remembered tomorrow when we are no longer here? Park politics, but really just use logic and engage and just, because we are just coming from the Ministry of Public Enterprise. We saw what happened. Air Namibia died. We saw agri-BizDev that was created. It died a natural death without achieving anything. We have another one that was rendered service by Cha-Cha-Cha and other companies. Up to now, we have a serious problem. Now we are starting again with this problem on top of the other problem. How are we going to make it practical? Let me give you an example of NIP. NIP has a board. I want to pray it's not a group of comrades that were appointed to become board of directors. One of them has a company into housing programs, project. The employees at that entity, it's the truth. Up to now, that problem is not resolved. The chair of that board went on and made sure that that company signed a deal to make sure that the employees of that company are forced to buy houses through that company. Today, these people are about to go home. The CEO is gone. And Honorable Michael touched on the provision where you are saying things that were done as of 21st March up to last year up to now, forget about it. God is happy with it. And now we are going to continue with this. Honorable Prime Minister, you are a good guy. Yeah. You have good intentions for this country. And as an individual, I said it in good faith. He knows what I'm saying. We want you 60 years from now on to be remembered as an individual that has tried his best after 36 of independence of Namibia to make sure things are working. This route that we are taking is very dangerous. Now, board of directors in this country, we know very well. You must just show up at the SWAPO rally, attend a fundraising. Tomorrow, you can submit your CV. No, truth. You submit your CV, you are a board member. Even up to now, we don't even have a policy that says, if you are in that field, perhaps just focus in that area. We see individuals going all over the place. You are in agriculture, you are in finance, you are in housing. There is also no cooling period, for example. You can leave this board, tomorrow you are on another board. We have seen CEOs coming from an entity that is into financing, going to another one that deals with financing of people's money. And I go with a bag of my problems to go and clean my problems with that new entity. And it is not being addressed here. What are we doing to ourselves? Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Prime Minister, I just wanted to highlight 6 fundamental concerns that I have with this PEGA thing. Remember, I think if I'm not mistaken, we already have an act that governs State-Owned Enterprises Act already. And now we are adding PEGA on top of what we have, which is supposed to be sufficient to manage and govern. Now, we have, I want to raise an issue of constitutionality. This bill is duplicating and is the word, yeah, the constitutional mandate of the Public Service Commission, which was established under Article 112 of the Namibian Constitution. Honorable Right Prime Minister, that institution is good enough for all of us, for this country, Public Service Commission. And all we need to do right now is to give it that independence, take it out of your office, strengthen it, and make sure that all the public enterprises can have their own department within. And then even the local authorities comes in, give them their own department with professionals. Because the Constitution says the establishment of a public service commission shall be professional, unbiased, and all those things. So why are we not strengthening public service and make sure that these guys are falling under public service? Because at the end of the day, the vision and what we want to achieve is want to provide service for the people of Namibia and all other things. The institution is there. We just need to strengthen it. So we are duplicating another instrument that will not even have physical human beings to run it. We know already you are only having one executive director. But as Office of the Prime Minister, that is a problem if we are truly thinking. You are supposed to have a team of individuals that should be helping the Prime Minister to even focus on on private sector, public service, and many other things. No. The other one, Honorable Prime Minister, is the concentration of powers. This bill wants to transfer sweeping powers to the Prime Minister and sector minister without sufficient checks and balances and accountability mechanism or parliamentary oversight. Again, that is a problem. Prime Minister, you know we are capable. Yes? No.
What is?
My time is going. Can I just finish? We can talk about it.
Yes.
I'm also sensing the issue of validation of past acts, and I touch on that. Section 29, sub-article 9, is addressing issues of retroactive which validates all acts from 21 March to 2025. I touch on that, and it's a great concern. There is also weak accountability. It says cabinet shall be approving requirements, and the cabinet approval requirements are inconsistently applied and lack parliamentary oversight, which marginalize throughout. PM, we have existing legal landscape already as a country, and I wanted to refer you to the public service that I touched on earlier, which is currently regulated by the public enterprise, Namibia's public enterprise governance, which is currently regulated by this act now already that we are amending, and the Namibia Constitution, the Public Service Commission again that I was referring to say, all we need really now is just to strengthen that what we have and transfer everything to the Public Service Commission, and perhaps just restructure and strengthen it, then creating something new on top of another to your office. We don't know if you are going to have professional individuals that are going to run that institution and help you, or it is just going to be you and people with emotions. I have a problem with this CEO, and that person is not one of us. He expressed himself the other day this way, kick him out. That is what I'm sensing. And we are human beings. We are human beings. Emotions will always be there, and professionalism and everything else will be thrown out of the window. So I truly believe we don't need to take this route. We can do better than this. There are a lot of issues I don't really want to go in, because even the issues of dividends and all that, who is going to help the Prime Minister as an individual to run after when these companies must pay dividends, for example? We have some of them that are not making any profit. Are you saying you are also going to have a shambok and run after them and tell them, make profit now, as the Prime Minister? You have companies like NITA all over the place.
Is that the point of
In
order?
terms of achievement, there is nothing already.
Okay.
And we have, the legal instrument is here.
There is a point of order, Honorable Nasu.
No, hold on. The legal instrument is already here, but it has failed. What is in this amendment that is going to make this institution work if they are already not working? I shall submit.
Oh, you are done. There is a point of order from your neighbor there. Are you done? Okay, but so we were going to. Okay, so it's.
Speaker.
Yeah. What is the point? Maybe
Yes. I was hoping. I didn't want to. Well, I was hoping that somebody from the executive would rise to the occasion. It was said that this will be an addition to the State-Owned Enterprises Governance Act and all those. But I was hoping that somebody from executive would rise to say that those acts, the one of 2006, they've all been repealed. So there will be no addition to that, because the only concern I have is just that our children and students are listening. They would think that it is actually the case that there's another Public Enterprises Governance Act. So you wanted to raise that? Okay. Yes, so please, yes, so executive, please listen so that you can intervene where is necessary. You know, because if you don't intervene, ministers, okay, backbenchers I understand, but ministers, please, this is a very serious issue.
Now that one is out of order, the last part.
No, ministers, you cannot just sit here, it's 1-0 already.
Yeah, okay, first, the sponsoring member will answer, and it is also expected that there is a team that is supporting the sponsoring member of any item that is brought to the House. So it is the expectation that they would assist the Right Honorable Prime Minister. But I understand that the Prime Minister wanted clarity on something, or was that what he wanted to challenge? So, but if the Prime Minister wants to rise on a point of information.
Yes, just information.
Yes, point of information.
Yes.
To get information for his noting, yeah. For his noting.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, I'm saying it is good what you are saying, but there was this information just to try and maybe crystallize the path of your thoughts. Like, for instance, when you said to add to the Public Service Commission, and then the Act, as was mentioned, it clouds that whole path. So it became a bit difficult for me, because the Public Service Commission is an entity established with a specific legislative framework that does what it is empowered to do in terms of... No, I'm just... Okay, fine, but my point is that it is a bit...
No, I want to hear what the PM is saying. Is the PM asking a question?
No, it is not. Yeah, that is precisely the point.
Yeah.
You see, the assumption is that Public Service Commission is under the Prime Minister. It's appointed by the President. I think it went through here, isn't it? Yes, the Public Service Commission.
So is the Right Honorable Prime Minister asking a question about...
No, it's the manner he structured it.
You are correcting something.
Yes, just that information. And also then to say the other issues of adding to another. No, these are two things.
Honorable members, now you can't debate with the PM. You see, PM can finish so that I can make a ruling.
Let me just finish. I mean, there were two things for clarification. One, he has mentioned it, so I don't want to repeat that. The second... Okay. That was one. The second one is now this particular one, is to say it is not in the manner that it was presented. It sends a wrong message. That is all I'm saying. Now, the generality of what he's saying, of course, we'll find time and we will be able to respond. No, I'm saying only this correction.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Varicando.
Yes. Yeah, honorable members, you see, that is why I ruled the first time to say, however attractive it may be, if we establish a practice where a member can interrupt another member because they want to correct the person or they disagree with what they are saying, then it means in the end, the person who is sitting home following this debate is no longer able to say, the bill is advocating for this, that political party is disagreeing here and they are advocating for that. They are no longer able to follow what we are saying because we are making a lot of point of order and point of information. So my ruling really is to say, honorable member, unless if there is a procedural issue, a point of order, if you just disagree with another member, just wait for your turn and then you intervene, especially if you are the sponsoring member. Let the team from the OPM assist the PM to take note of all the comments that are made so that the PM would then respond in a comprehensive manner in the end. So now, yes, in what point is that one? because there is a list, yeah. Yes, yes. A procedure, okay, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to, because the Speaker is saying I'm making this ruling, and perhaps I don't want us to have a back and forth another time. But I think, Speaker, we already had this discussion about the principles of a debate and what it is meant to do and what it is meant to be in this House. It can't be, Honorable Speaker, that we are now reducing debates to just points of procedures only when a right is infringed. I don't think that was the intent of those that drafted those rules, but even the founders of this very House. So I think, Speaker, I don't know whether we'll get an opportunity to engage at another platform, but I don't think really it is right that debates or members can only stand up when a right is infringed or when they are standing on a procedural issue. We must be allowed to engage each other intellectually and take each other's ideas on. It can't be really, Speaker. I hope that we can engage on another platform. I'm open to that. Over a cup of tea with the Speaker and so forth. I just wanted to say that on record, at least, so that next time if Speaker applies that ruling, it doesn't apply to me, maybe to others. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, I'm hearing you. As I have said earlier on today, you see, the rulings of the Speaker are based on the order, yeah? Standing rules and order. And now Rule 90, yeah? Rule 90 says, when a member is speaking, no other member may interrupt him or her, except to call attention to the want of a quorum, or to a point of order, or to an issue of privilege. That's what the rule is saying. Now, if we want to engage each other, not by taking turns, which are assigned by the Speaker, to debate issues according to the way we have framed that in the rules, then we can look at the rules and we can amend them. But the challenge that I'm faced with is I am bound to apply the rules. You see, if a member just gets up, interrupts another one, and just argue, then it is not, we are violating Rule 90. That's a challenge, but we can engage over a cup of tea or at a committee or whatever. That's the challenge that I'm faced with. And if we find that we are not able to accommodate that, let's discuss it when we are amending the rules. Okay? Because it's not my intention to stifle debate. I just want to, you know, to apply the rules. Now, I think we still have some little time left. And I see Honorable Jonas is the one that is next on the list, and she has the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Honorable members. Let me begin where this bill truly matters most, and that is with the workers who are working for the public enterprises. For too long, ordinary employees have borne the consequences of governance delays that were never of their making. When boards are appointed late, when executive positions remain vacant, when strategic plans and budgets are not approved on time, it is not abstract institutions that suffer, it's the workers and service delivery to the society. It is the employees waiting for the negotiated increment that cannot be processed because a remuneration framework has not been authorized. It is not the union representatives whose collective agreements stalled because shareholders' directives are unclear. It is the family that depends on that income who feel the uncertainty. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, when wage negotiation collapse or dispute escalate, we are often quick to look at labor relations on many times at the union labels to be troublemakers. But experience under the 2019 Act has shown us that many of these crises were rooted not in labor failures, but in governance failures. Fragmented authorities, overlapping mandates, and delays approval created parasites rather than accountability. That one. So workers were left negotiating in an environment where decision makers themselves were uncertain or constrained. That is neither fair nor sustainable. It is precise this instability that the Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill 2025 seeks to correct. I rise in strongly support of this bill, introduced by the Right Honorable Prime Minister, because it's aligned directly with the vision of SWAPO Party to build a capable developmental state, one that strengthens public enterprises, protect workers' rights, and ensure that state institutions serve the people efficiently, transparency, and accountability. Accountability.
Yeah, point of order, Honorable Jonas.
Don't interrupt.
I'm listening attentively. That's why I even put on my ears, my headphones, so that I can listen carefully. There are two things that I've heard, just for purpose of clarification. One is something that is a concept that deals with the Schedule 1 offense. And the Schedule 1 offense is rape. So when it said that it's over-raping, so meaning somebody rape? No, it's very serious. I'm very serious, I'm not even laughing about it. Somebody rapes and over-rapes, it's a very serious issue. Number two, yes. So if there's really a provision in the Act today that speak about over-raping, it's a very serious issue. We must not joke about those things. The ministers, the members spoke about over-raping, that's one. Number two, she also said, yes, serious public concern, over-raping. Number two, the member made mention of the objective of a developmental state in the SWAPO manifesto. I read that document cover to cover. Not a single reference to a developmental state. It's not in the objective of the manifesto. Unless there's another manifesto, maybe the member want to clarify, so that she's not misquoted.
Just continue. Just continue with
Yes,
your
continue. Yes, you may please proceed. Continue. If there is clarity that needs to be, I don't know what overrating is that refers to. Is that correct?
Just continue.
Yes, you have the floor.
Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Can I continue?
Yes.
We can have the discussion outside. Yeah, outside.
So was that a matter of...
So arise is strong.
So I take it that those comments were not accurate. That is why the honorable member is not offering a response. So, no, but if it was true that she said over-raping, I'm sure that she would have explained it. So I'm taking it that she didn't say that, yeah, and therefore that point of order is not enforced. Yeah. Yes, honorable member, you can continue. Yes, honorable member.
He was first.
Okay, who was first? Honorable Shifeta.
Which one is first?
Honorable Shifeta first. Honorable April, you may take your seat for a moment, please.
Honorable Speaker, I went up.
No. After the session, honorable members. I know that Honorable Ampanda, you could have done well to inform the presiding officer. No, wait. Honorable Shifeta, take your seat. Honorable Ampanda could have done better to notify the presiding officer that our honorable colleague is celebrating his birthday today, so that we can recognize that and congratulate him. Now the next best thing that he could do is to wait for us to finish instead of starting singing in the middle of the sitting, so that we can congratulate the honorable. Okay. Now having said that, we proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I want to hear.
That's what you wanted all along.
what I heard, what the honorable member said,
I'm here to
she
defend
said
myself.
overlapping, not overrape.
Yeah, you see?
Overlapping.
Yeah.
Honorable Speaker, I just want to
Because
say
yes, that's good. Very good. Yes, please. Yes.
Overlapping.
Yes,
There's
okay.
a difference between overlapping and overraping.
Yes, okay.
So, Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to make a point here. I was saying, referring to the Companies Act. And the Companies Act is a hard law. There's a NAMCO. The corporate governance we are talking about is NAMCO.
Oh, okay, thank you. Honorable member, okay. Now, okay.
That is where
okay, Honorable April, on what point?
Madam Speaker and the House, mine is just a very humble submission I want to do. The quality of the debate does not lie in the pronunciation of particular concepts and words.
Yes.
Because there is, in the world, not even the English people, there is no master of pronunciation. Therefore, let's rather concentrate on the content and raise the quality of the debate in this House.
Very good. Now, very well said by someone on his birthday. Thank you very much. Now, Honorable Jonas, you may proceed. Yes, Honorable Nekundi, what point is it?
I would just want to request the speaker, when he's done, I will just like, before you, the House is adjourned, to have a point of privilege.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, honorable members, now what time is it? Now we have interrupted the contribution of Honorable Jonas, and now it is knock-off time. There is only 1 minute left. So Honorable Jonas would have to continue tomorrow, and we will now hear the point of privilege before we wish Honorable April a happy birthday, and we rise.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise on a point of privilege. In view of the document we are referring to, this one, as thick as it is, Honorable Speaker, this document, the proceeding of our Assembly is done in terms of the rules and procedures anchored on the Constitution of the Republic. It then says that if you look at the Constitution, the rules of Parliament are established in terms of Article 59 of the Constitution. Now, which is then in here. And now, Honorable Speaker, one issue that I wanted to address or to make a decision on us in conformity to the rules is one. This book is very thick, and it says that Rule 131, Sub-Rule 1D, it prohibits. Now, when we look at this document, 99% of this, Rule 131, Sub-Rule 1D. I can even give you an example of question 143. It says, yet a system that once functioned efficiently has now collapsed into chaos, causing immense. So most of these questions, if not all, are in violation of that rule. I just want to establish whether ministers must answer questions that are in violation of the rules. Number two.
No, the person is raising a point of privilege.
We need to hear
what he's saying.
Number two.
No, we need to hear what he's saying.
Number two, Honorable Speaker, these rules, as I said, is a derivative of the Constitution. So therefore, the proceeding may never contravene what is contained here. Now, this book says, Article 40 E of this Constitution, the daily questions are outlined what they must be in terms of Article 40E of the Constitution. Now, when you look at these books, what we have now here, it contravenes the Constitution under Article 40E. Read together then it says what questions are permissible in terms of the Constitution on a daily basis. Those are covered in Article 63, sub-Article 2F. I just want to to put us, how do we handle then, insofar as ministers? Must ministers answer to questions that violate the Constitution and the rules? And at what point, Honorable Speaker, do you then rules, when these rules, the questions violate the Constitution and the rules, at what point do you rule them out of or not in conformity with the Constitution and the rules of procedure of the House? So that is my question, Honorable Speaker. It's a privilege.
Yes, honorable members. First, honorable member, yeah, that's an important question because in approach, how do I say, every issue has a principle and it has an approach. What is the correct word? It has a letter and a spirit. That's what the lawyers would say. In terms of the rules, the presiding officer under Rule 6, I believe it is, would make a ruling. And that ruling can either be after a member has given notice, yeah, to ask a question or to move a motion or to table a bill. If the presiding officer detects that there is something untoward, the presiding officer can make a ruling not to admit that issue to be on the order paper. If the presiding officer has not identified that, there is a provision for point of order or point of privilege from members, and the rules are saying how that point of order is to be made. So a member would rise and say, I make a point of order in terms of this rule, and this is the consent that I have. And then the presiding officer will make a ruling, either to uphold that point of order or to set it aside. But it would be the same way that it is inappropriate for somebody to ask a question that violates a rule. It would be out of order for a cabinet minister to say, I can't answer because I think. You see? So we have to find ourselves there. So the member would get up and say, point of order, Honorable Speaker, either on the floor or outside, and the Speaker can make a ruling at that time or at a later time. So I think that's really how we deal with this issue. Because as I have said, all of us are bound by these rules, and we are aiming to achieve something. And we have to try to deal with those deviations in a manner that would get us to where we want to go.
I respect the ruling. This is the correct ruling.
Very good. Yes. Yes.
The time, we are over the time.
We are over the time. That's the challenge. Honorable Ampanda. Honorable
We are waiting. It's just on what. So Speaker, you will see.
Yes.
You will see the impression.
Honorable Ampanda,
yes.
I want to make a proposal.
Yes.
It is either you would raise that as a point of privilege when we come tomorrow, or you can ask the Speaker after the session, but we are now bound by the time.
Okay.
Because we are now over the time.
Okay, you can just read what I'm saying. Just read on your own 40E.
40E.
Yes,
okay.
He referred to you at 40E.
Okay.
But 40E speaks about, we can ask questions now on wisdom, effectiveness on 40E.
Okay.
So questions on wisdom and legitimacy and effectiveness.
Okay.
So 40E that is talking about is West.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Now we rise on automatic adjournment. We rise on automatic adjournment until tomorrow. Okay.